Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the Storm Dorm here, and as you can see, you're looking at a little bit of gameplay from Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, but that's irrelevant right now. Oh, that is so irrelevant. What we're going to be talking about today, guys, is Final Fantasy 15, and literally what we're going to do is just talk about it. I want to get the hype train rolling because I'm excited. I know millions of other people out there are excited, and so I want to get some input from everybody. Now, what I want to talk about first is the storyline. And what I think it's going to sort of entail, I've read some stuff online, I've seen the trailer and everything, and what it seems to be pointing towards is you're a prince of a king who has possibly fallen. I haven't actually heard anything about like him dying or whatever, but it's kind of implied whenever, Noctis, the main character and heir to the throne, is apparently the last hope for reclaiming the throne, and by doing so the kingdom itself. And what I wanted to say about it actually is I think the road trip idea is actually really cool, and it's very different from what we've seen in past Final Fantasies. I guess what you're doing is you leave the kingdom on a sort of quest, I guess you can say, to I'm going to assume to discover who or what it is that is threatening the kingdom, and then going about stopping it or attempting to stop it or whatever. And man, oh man, dude, that trailer, man, oh my god, that trailer, holy shit. If you have not seen the Final Fantasy 15 trailer yet, pause this video, go watch that right now. Just go watch it because you are missing out. It's going to be incredibly epic and different from past Final Fantasy games, like I've said. One of the key points being the party. The party I've seen, the default party, I guess you can call it the default party, I don't know. But I guess what you start with, you're controlling Noctis, obviously, then you roll around with, like your three homies, I guess, and I can tell that getting to know these characters on a sort of personal level is going to be something that Square Enix pushes in this installment of the Final Fantasy series. And with that, I was wondering if the customization levels will be in depth or only pertain to certain things such as, I don't know, skills, who you bring with you, that sort of the sort of role they play, I guess you can say. But that is something that I was wondering, because if you guys remember in Final Fantasy 13, I want to say 13 Lightning Returns was where it was most prominent, but the customization was pretty deep. You could do everything from costumes, skills, just basically bring a personality out of the character, who at the time was Lightning. But in this one, I'm wondering if they're going to go for that same thing, or if it's going to be sort of minimal as far as customization goes. I mean, personally, I don't usually say this kind of thing about JRPGs in particularly, but I wouldn't mind actually if there was not as much customization to each character, because from what I've seen so far, and as long as it stays true to this whenever the game actually releases in September, from what I've seen so far, the characters already have such a unique personality and aura about them that I want to see how they progress on their own, how they develop as a character. And from what I can tell, well, I guess that's a poor choice of words. I guess from what I want to assume is that character development may play a big part in the story of this game. Now, what I mean by that is I'm not thinking that major parts of the story will be changed, but what I'm thinking is that minor subplots, I guess you can call them, may turn out differently depending on how you respond, you know, to each character and their wants and needs and how they view the world and that sort of thing, you know. It's kind of similar. I guess the best example of that would be like in, say, Mass Effect or Dragon Age, you know, one of those BioWare series, where whenever you do certain things for a character or make certain decisions of the game that they approve or disapprove of, that changes how things progress in the story. And so that would actually be a really interesting concept to see in Final Fantasy 15, although I'm not going to get my hopes up for it. And my reason for saying that is, you know, from the history of Final Fantasy, you know, they have a pretty set idea or vision that they want to portray to the players in that world that they've created, and so I'm expecting to see the same thing in this installment as well. But aside from the story, we may get into the customization a little bit later in this video, or we'll save it for another video, who knows. But that's what I'm thinking as far as the story. You know, Kingdom gets, I want to say overrun or overruled, I guess, seized, something like that, by some enemy force, and your goal is to get it back. You know, what they say repeatedly in the trailer, as well as, you know, interviews that people have done with the producers working on this game, is that you need to reclaim your throne. That is pretty heavily implemented in several of the advertisements for this game. You know, reclaim your throne, regain the glory, that kind of thing, you know. And I really like that, you know, because it's cool to just this is gonna sound kind of dark, but I guess it's cool to see a kingdom that you're in line to lead, you know, kind of fall apart and you got to rebuild it. You know, I kind of like that idea, you know. And yeah, that's what I think about the plot. Now, guys, we need to look at the scenery in this game. Guys, this game is beautiful. I mean, I can't even express it enough. Look at it, man. It's fucking beautiful. And this is a low quality pic, and I'm so just like, damn. Holy shit. I mean, you got some weird fucking creature with a elongated neck and shit drinking out of a beautiful looking lake. And oh, one of the small details I thought was kind of cool about this screenshot in particular is how, like, Noctis here has actually got, like, I don't know if, like, that's how far as his pants go or if they're, like, rolled up, but if they're rolled up, that's a nice touch to be adding into a game. That would show that they put a lot of time into this. Now, granted, they have put a lot of time into this, and I have very high expectations for this game, especially the hype train that it's been on, and my pre-order costs $100. Shit. It better be a damn good game. I mean, but based on what I'm saying, oh, it's fucking beautiful, man. But aside from that, guys, man, actually, no, fuck that. Come on, it's fucking gorgeous. I can't get over it enough. I mean, okay, I'll stop on that. But another thing, you know, besides how great the game looks and all that, the gameplay itself, I hear it's going to be much different from, okay, maybe not much different, but pretty different as far as the pace of the game. And the reason I say that is because you see, you know, kind of gameplay trailers and stuff like that, and the game looks very fast paced, especially with, like, the teleporting shit. Yo, I can't wait to get into that. Like, the fucking teleporting sword and shit, that is amazing. I played the demo, actually. It was a very short demo, but I mean, that's okay, because what I did play was outstanding. You know, I believe you start off, if I remember right, you start off as, like, him in his childhood. And I feel like that portion of it was just to show how great the game looks. And that was the demo. And it looked great. Textures were amazing, you know, particles rendered beautifully. And once it got to the fight scene, or the main fight scene in the demo anyway, you know, you're like adult Noctis or whatever, and you use a little bit of that teleporting swordsmanship or whatever, and I gotta tell you, it felt great. Like, it felt very, very smooth. I mean, at first I was like, what? I mean, how do you... I don't understand this, but I mean, I feel like that was just a learning curve that comes with all games, because once I did get the hang of it, I played the demo at least 3 times just because it was so much fun using that. I even tried to like let my enemy live a little bit longer and just kind of teleport around just to do it, and that I feel like is going to be playing a major part in how this game does as far as, you know, sales and shit. I mean, because I feel like it's going to do well already, you know, with pre-orders going through the roof and people, just the fan base alone, you know, the game's going to do really well. But I'm talking about as far as like people bringing the game back because it was not what they expected. I don't feel like that's going to happen here. That happened with the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy there, you know. People bought it, played it, it wasn't quite what they were hoping it would be, and, you know, they brought it back. Which, I mean, is understandable. You want people to get what they're paying for. But I do not believe that's going to be the case here with Final Fantasy 15, because the one thing that I've noticed from so far about what I've seen for Final Fantasy 15 is that it looks like there's a real passion into making this game, and I cannot stress enough how lacking that is these days in a lot of games. You know, it's sort of like people are making games these days that they just want to put out there, you know, make a quick buck. Okay, the biggest example I can think of here is Watch Dogs. Now, I've seen the trailer for Watch Dogs 2, and I'm hoping that they've turned it around, they've corrected their wrongs. But in Watch Dogs, I felt like the concept was great. However, something wasn't sitting well with them to where they felt like they needed to go out of their way to make it the best game they possibly could. In Final Fantasy 15, I feel like they have done that. They've put every man into the field ready to make the game as great as they can make it, down to the very smallest and tiniest of details. Now, like any game, I'm sure that there's going to be, you know, certain quirks or, you know, glitches, you know, maybe something, you know, whatever, but not many at all from what I believe will be the outcome of this game. And that makes me happy, both as a fan and as just a player in general, because who wants to keep buying the crap that's just put out there to make money and strictly to make money, you know? I understand you gotta have those kind of games out there, but I like feeling like people haven't forgotten that games is a way of life, man. Like, shit. Like, I can't put that any better than how I just put it. Like, games are a way of life, brother, and you know, you want to see people make them like it's a way of life. That's all it is. But anyway, now let's get into some of the features of the game. Now, I heard something out there about there being some sort of screenshot creator doohickey thingamajig, and what it essentially, I think it's supposed to be, is like you take screenshots in the game and then you can tinker with them, you know, doing like filters or, you know, making effects on the screenshot or whatever, and then somehow using that screenshot for, I guess, whatever, maybe a wallpaper or something. I don't know what the point of it is, but the idea does sound pretty cool. I'm hoping it won't like hinder the game, as in like putting something in there that really doesn't need to be there, but it does sound like a pretty great idea. And I want to show you guys a screenshot of something that I guess is supposed to be similar to that. And this is what I wanted to show you guys. Now, I don't know who this woman is. I don't know what exactly is going on here with the before and after images. Like, was all of that there and then you took all the crap off and now it's just the chick with the white background or whatever? I don't know. But I read like a forum and it literally only said you can reconstruct photos or screenshots that are taken in the game. And I was like, okay, but I mean, like, why? Like, what are we gonna do with them? Is there, is there a point behind this? I really couldn't find anything that gave specific details, but I mean, I guess we'll find out, upon release, or maybe here in a month or so. I doubt they'll come out with any other details, like 2 weeks or a month before, the planned release date, so yeah, that's that. Anyway, moving on from that, guys, let's talk about the fucking Batmobile. You all know what I'm talking about, the fucking car that flies, man. And I mean, okay, just look at it real quick. Look at it. Tell me you have not seen Bruce Wayne sporting that at least once. At least one time, bro. It's the Batmobile to me, and I'm probably gonna keep calling it Batmobile way after the game's released and shit. But to me, this is cool because it's not only a flying car, which is fucking awesome. Any sane person would think that a flying car is amazing. But what's cool about it to me is it gives me the impression that you'll be able to explore the world by flying around and discovering shit, and maybe, just maybe, there's stuff that you can discover in this world that can only be discovered by flying around in this car instead of driving around like you normally would. My only fear is that it may be like restricted. Oh god, that would be a bummer. Like, you can't just like actually fly around. I mean, to me, if I'm given a flying car in a fucking video game, I want to be able to fly to fucking Paris and back and shit. No restrictions, nothing like that. Just complete free roam. But my fear is that whenever you do utilize this car or whatever and you fly in it, you may see it like take off and shit, but then it'll like cut to a load screen or some shit, and then whenever the load screen's done, you're at your destination or whatever, and that would just be a fucking bummer because it takes all the fun of it. And it wouldn't be so much of a worry for me if I could have seen somewhere, anywhere, the car actually being flown high in the sky and stuff. But everything that I've seen, it's like just lifting off of the ground and shit or whatever, and that makes me think, there's gotta be a restriction, and again, I don't want to say I wouldn't mind, because I would mind, but I mean, I guess it's not that big of a deal. That's probably a lot for them to be doing, considering how much they've done with the game already. But I mean, come on, dude, don't put the flying car in and then half-ass it, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, that's some shit. That's the Batmobile, bro. Don't nerf the Batmobile. I mean, what fun would that be? But yeah, and speaking of the Batmobile, actually, one of the characters, Cindy, I believe, is a mechanic that I believe will be working on your car, probably doing upgrades and for it and stuff. And boy, look at her. I mean, whew. Man, my mechanic doesn't look anything like that, let me tell you. It's just a real scruffy old guy who, dips a lot and shit. But yeah, I'm actually wondering if maybe she'll be incorporated into your party or at some point, or if she's just, your pit stop. How you gotta stop somewhere, kind of like in Type 0, it's Academia or whatever the fuck, the big school. I wonder if she's just kind of somewhere you go to level up and shit, upgrade your equipment, your car, things like that. And But yeah, I'm actually very interested in learning more about Cindy's character. Another character I'm interested in learning about is I think Luna. Luna is her name. You'll see an image here. It's a Luna Freya or some shit. I'm very confused on what the name is supposed to be because I've seen both Luna and Luna Freya all over the internet, but I'm just gonna go with Luna because even if it is Luna Freya, that'd just be a short version that I'd probably end up calling her anyway. So Luna it is for me, but I see her pop up in the trailer. I wonder if she's some kind of like mystical being because you see her fighting off like the dragon or whatever in the trailer, which looked amazing by the way. And then you see her in the past with Noctis, and then in the future with Noctis, but she looks the same, so I'm wondering if she ages or, you know, something like that, which is what makes me think that she may be a mystical being of some sort. But yeah, I'm actually really interested to learn more about her as well. What I also want to know is what the fuck is up with Noctis and those glowing red eyes. Here, I'll show you a picture here. The eyes here are glowing after he touches a stone in the trailer, so does he use it to like kill shit like this? Or is it like a power that he's gained but that's not for combat? Or I don't know, but I mean in any JRPG if I see glowing red eyes I think immense power, and you know. But yeah, in the trailer he touches some kind of monolith or something like that that has like a blue glow to it, and whenever he does it kind of explodes in a way, and you know, beautiful particles are flying everywhere and shit, and his eyes glow, and so I'm wondering what that is. Like, it's just got me so curious. Is it have something to do with like the crystals that are like very popular throughout the Final Fantasy series? I wouldn't bank so much on that theory just because interview after interview that I've seen online and on YouTube and shit like that with the developers says that they're trying to stray away from that. You know, so as far as like the crystals and, you know, that kind of lore that's commonly incorporated in Final Fantasy, they're trying to stray away from that and stick to a very unique storyline and everything, which is totally cool, you know, whatever, but it's just got me super curious as to what that is, and if it is something to do with the crystals, then like to what extent, like is it like a big part, is it something that you can just come across optionally? I don't know man, but I just know that whenever I saw that in the trailer I was like, what the fuck is going on, because perhaps that's something that is an obstacle excuse me, is an obstacle or something that Noctis has to deal with, or maybe a challenge of some sort. Like for instance, something that maybe he has to bear and bear it alone. And what I mean by that is something that can only be dealt with within his own power, you know, that it's up to him to decide how to deal with that issue, that power that's probably given to him. And making another Dragon Age reference, the mark that's on the Inquisitor's hand, you know, that glows from the rift being open in the sky and shit, you know, it may be something like that, you know, you just have to deal with it on your own. But yeah, man, as far as that, you know, I'm very curious, but that's all for that. What I'm more curious about is all the characters in general. What I want to, dude, these characters look so good, you know, like I want to know personally each one of them, and you know, I can't wait to be able to play and discover, you know, their abilities, their backstory, if they decide to incorporate something like that, or even if that, just to see how they develop from the point that you meet them and participate with them in your party or whatever to the end of the game. How far do they make it, if they make it at all, and how do they develop as they go along? So, you know, that's something I'm super excited to be doing. Not as excited about the Bat as I am about the Batmobile, but I mean the Batmobile could get nerfed, people, so you know, it's a It's a coin toss. That's all I can say about it. It's a coin toss. As weird as I know that it's weird to be saying this, you know, before the game even releases, but I'm actually more, besides the two female characters that I showed you just now, Cindy and Luna, I'm more curious to learn about like the group that's that you see all throughout the trailers and stuff, you know, riding around in the Batmobile and shit. I'm more curious about those characters than any of the others because they all look like they're really close friends, and I really want to know how they got to that point. But that's it for the discussion today, guys. Look forward to my Final Fantasy VII Remake discussion. I'm really excited to be doing that. We may talk more about this game later on, but until then, please like and subscribe if you wish. Share with your friends. More importantly, though, follow on Twitter for more updates at the Storm Dorm for more anime game content. And until then, guys, I'll see you around.